Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, Michelle here with another great business to discuss on this episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. Today's guest is Mate, who's selling an affiliate, display advertising, and Amazon Associates business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. Welcome to the show, Mate. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Michelle. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. I'm really glad to have you here today, and I'm looking forward to learning more about your business. But before we dive in, let's go over a brief summary of it. It's an affiliate, display advertising, and Amazon Associates business in the hobbies niche created in February of 2020. The average monthly revenue for the business is $4,318, and it makes an average of $4,222 per month in net profit. Included in this sale is a domain with all site content and files, 2 smartphone apps, an email list with 4,500 subscribers, and social media accounts for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest. For everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 56759 to learn more about the business, or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. So Mate, now let's hear from you. What can you tell us about your background in building and running an online business?
Well, I've been into digital marketing for like 3 or 4 years. I've built several other things before this, and this is probably like one of the favorite businesses I've built of mine. So I've been mostly learning about blogging and SEO when I first started out, and that's the path I chose to take on, like probably with this blog. I just started I decided to commit to this skill and to this one particular niche I chose 2 years ago. I started this one business and it's been going really great since then.
And so what gave you the idea to start this particular site? Was it something that you had an interest in?
Well, honestly, I didn't really have that much of an interest, but at the time I was traveling a lot and I started noticing like this type of product was really popular no matter where I went, like especially big metropolitan like urban cities. They had a lot of this product, and this was a growing niche, obviously like a very trendy product. And even more importantly, it seemed like it's not going to be just a fad. This is going to be like a staple of our society, probably. So I thought like this can be a really good business. This can be a really good, great idea. So that's how I decided on it.
That's one of the coolest background stories I think I've heard from a seller. You just happen to be traveling and you noticed a need that needed to be filled. That's fantastic. So can you explain to us how your business primarily makes money?
Yeah, sure. So most of the money comes from display advertising through Zoic and affiliate marketing through individual merchants that sell the product. But there's also like a significant chunk comes from Amazon as well. And there is some display advertising in the mobile phone apps as well, but that's like a smaller part of the profits. And that's mostly it.
And so what drew you to this type of monetization? Was it because you previously mentioned that you were interested in blogging? So it's just a natural segue for you to make money off of your work?
Well, yeah, I mean, to be fair, I followed like a few mentors online that were teaching this sort of like monetization method. And they kind of seemed like, I guess, honest, and it all seemed like it could really work. So I decided to give it a shot, and hey, there you go, like it's really working. So that's primarily how I chose the monetization strategies. All of my mentors basically suggested like diversify as much as you can to like not rely on just one method and try different things and see what works the best. So that's what I did, and I'm glad it worked.
No, that's a really important point. I'm so glad that you brought that up. Just how important it is to diversify your revenue streams. And, you were saying earlier that this is the most successful project that you've worked on. and you've got diverse revenue streams now, and you've built something up that's quite profitable. So why have you decided to sell the business now?
Well, I actually started working on another project like maybe half a year ago or something like that. As soon as this project started to get like more solid and I saw like the profits are gonna be like more or less constant as time goes by, I just wanted to explore this other idea that honestly is more exciting to me. It's in a more exciting niche for me. I'm just more passionate about it. So I decided to start another project and that one has been like going really well. It's almost like skyrocketing, I should say. So I would want to focus on that fully, see where that takes me. And I currently don't have a lot of time to invest in the project I'm selling. So I think it would be a great idea for me to sell it.
That's totally understandable. So, is there anything that you've learned from this business that you will apply to future sites?
Oh man, definitely. I mean, there's so much you learn. This is like an incredible journey building a successful business. It's probably one of the, I don't want to like over exaggerate, but I'm definitely going to say this is one of the most important things like anyone can do for themselves, like for the people in your life and all of that. So, yeah, I mean, you got to stay consistent. You must never like, you should never quit, of course. It takes, I mean, it's worth it to like back off, to take a step back and reevaluate things every now and then, but you gotta stick with it. You gotta like,
Well, I was going to ask you, kind of going along with that, is when you talk about taking a step back and reevaluating, is there anything that you've tried with this site that didn't work or didn't get you the results that you thought you were going to get?
I can't really remember off the top of my head. I guess like some things didn't work as well as I thought they might, but they still did work quite well. So I can't really think of anything here.
Well, is there anything that you have that is just highlighted in your mind that worked particularly well, that you were surprised at how well it worked?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I guess the thing that surprised me the most in terms of how well it worked was the list articles I wrote. I never expected them to like bring so much traffic, to bring so much revenue, and that has been a blast. I mean, that has been really good.
Well, speaking of your traffic, where does the majority of it come from?
Organic Google searches, most of it.
And what are you currently doing in terms of marketing?
Well, honestly, I'm just focusing on what's working the best, which is like Google searches. So that means producing content most of the time. I do send out the occasional email because the list is like quite big and growing, although the search engine traffic is still the primary means of traffic. And I think the apps also bring in some traffic as well, like a small but still significant part of it. And that's pretty much it.
So, if you were to keep the business, what are some ways that you would try to grow it?
Oh, there are like at least two or three things I would definitely do with this business. I would probably consider starting a YouTube channel at some point. I think that's going to be like really important for this business. That's going to maybe do like more detailed reviews of the products, and probably I think also an e-commerce shop is also a good idea because the site already gets a lot of traffic, and if that side of the business can be developed, that's going to just bring in more revenue. So I think those 2 points are like probably the most important ones. And I think there's like a third one that's fairly easy to implement because it would only involve like just following the patterns and the processes that are established with this blog. So there is like a separate category of products that I still haven't covered on the blog. And I think that simply expanding into that category as well, this blog would be fairly easy to do and it still would bring in a lot of revenue.
One of the things that I was really interested in with your business is you have two apps that you developed yourself.
Yep.
And you had briefly touched upon earlier that you do have display advertising for those, but they're not a major source of revenue yet. Is that something that you could see a buyer developing further?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, most of the revenue comes from the blogs. So I guess it would be more profitable to focus on that side of the equation. But if someone were to like delve into the apps, they can do a lot there. I mean, there's truly a lot of potential there. And I'm seeing like amazing feedback from users of the apps. People are like shooting me like contacts and questions, and they're asking for features like all of the time. I know that the apps can be like a true goldmine because I didn't really like go in that much. Honestly, I started them out as a prototype. I wanted to just see if I can get like backlinks from Google and from Apple directly, and it turns out it worked quite well. But other than that, yeah, I think developing the apps further, it could increase revenue by quite a lot.
And I know that you had mentioned to our team as we talk about like skills and requirements for a buyer who takes on the business is you said that the way that the apps are set up, if they're left as is, then someone doesn't need a lot of development and programming experience.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the apps they are ready, they are prepared. They don't have to be like ever touched by whoever buys the business, but there's still like a lot of potential there in case someone wants to like develop that side of the business further. But at the moment, like they're fine on their own. They don't need to like be updated or anything like that.
And I think you had also said that, somebody didn't have a development background that they could outsource that. And that's a potential for somebody as well, a small amount of investment for potentially great returns.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the apps are done in like a very popular technology. It's actually like the same source code is used for both platforms, so that's gonna be like quite easy for development.
And can you describe for us the amount and type of work that you do on this business for maintenance?
Maintenance, well, honestly, it's just updating the plugins on the WordPress site at this point. There's not a lot of maintenance needed. I believe I just like produce content, I guess. That's the only work I did in the last few months, actually, even like kind of stopped producing that much content as well because I saw like the business is getting like solidified. It's starting to get like constant income without me having to work a lot on it. So there's no need for a lot of maintenance work for sure.
And what do you think are the biggest risks with this business that a buyer should be aware of?
Well, I guess like the typical risks that any affiliate blog carries with it, like the Google core updates are probably like the biggest risk here. And like the last big update, I think, was this November, and it turns out the site actually got even more traffic, and that was the case for like previous one or two big Google updates. So as far as that goes, I think like the site has a good track history in terms of that. But other than that, like I don't know, I guess new competitor can always enter the market, but I haven't seen that happen in the last, well, since I started the business, actually, I only see the same players in the market. So I guess that's also like not that big of a risk. And I cannot think of anything else. I think those are the two like major ones.
And so, would you commit to a non compete for a new buyer?
Yes, of course.
And how much support are you offering buyers?
I'm willing to offer like the standard support, which is, I believe, 30 days, email, Skype, all of that, like the standard best practice of Emperor Flippers.
And are you open to negotiating something like an earnout?
Well, honestly, I mean, I would prefer to be paid in cash upfront, but I'm open to negotiate a deal here. I'm open to suggestions and ideas, of course.
And earlier you mentioned that you had followed some people to learn how to do the affiliate and display ad model. So, was there anyone in particular who inspired you while you were building this business?
Yes, of course. I gotta mention like the guys from Income School. I think they're quite popular in this like sort of business. I believe they're the mentors of a lot of people, but they're probably responsible for like at least 50% of my knowledge. And also there's like Miles Bickler. He's also a famous YouTuber. I believe most bloggers and affiliate marketers will be aware of them. And yeah, I guess like the 20% I learned by myself by experimenting, that's like my personal secret sauce. But other than that, like those two teams, those two like mentors have been essential in my knowledge and experience.
That's great. So, putting yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why do you think this is a business worth buying?
It's stable. The income is like only growing as time goes by. Same with the traffic. It's a really growing niche. I think it's only getting better and better with time. It's a really cool technology. It's really trendy and growing market. So I think that should like really encourage anyone that's serious in owning a long lasting business to consider it.
Is there anything else that you'd like to share about the business that I might have missed?
I think we covered it all. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much for your time, Mate. It's been a pleasure to learn more about you and your business.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you for your interview.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 56759. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. Once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.